actually pose. Actually, let me just fix this. Sorry, I'll put on the background music in a moment. Just give me a second. So, yesterday we left off. Yeah, we left off. I showed you the process of doing the hair, so we're going to continue that for now. But the first thing I need to do is to get the flipping code for this thing. Sorry about this. This is as tedious for me as it is for you. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Today is banter with Daniel, so we can talk a bunch of stupid stuff. And today's Zane's here, so we can bully him also today. Poor guy. Anyway, let's get into it. Um, yeah, actually, the interesting topic I think we can talk about. I'm just gonna tilt this a little bit. I don't want my face too much into the screen. Anyway, I'm just gonna pull up quickly the. No, not that one. This one. It's a bit difficult again to see what I'm doing, but we make do with what we have. Oh no, that's definitely the wrong color. So we talked a lot of nonsense the previous times. I think last time we talked a bit about gaming, a bit of mental health, mythology, all that type of stuff. Uh, Today we can also talk about that stuff a bit, but actually me and our intern, we he's kind of busy at the moment, but before he got as busy as he is now, we went into a discussion about Alita Battle Angel. Now, for those who don't know, it was originally a manga. It was the very first one I read. It's a pretty old one also, but they did an adaptation. I think it released in 2019. But we talked about the fun fact about, because the girl's basically just she's just a head, so she doesn't really have any uh, she doesn't need any nutritional value to keep her going. So what they did in the movie, or even in the manga, was they gave. Oh, Rochelle popped in again. Hi, Rochelle. Actually, I should just pop in the comments before I start with everything. Just hi, Rochelle, because I know you're popping in every time. But yeah, as I was saying, in the manga, they the only thing she eats is dark chocolate because uh, it has some damn it. It helps the development of the brain. I'll put it like that. Healthy sugars, and we talked about certain dishes that helps develop the brain. And as far as I'm concerned, I think omega-3 is one of them. Stuff that contains omega-3 like fish. Uh, Nuts I think also help. Well, I think nuts also help boost testosterone for So if there's someone out there that thinks, oh, I need a bit of a testosterone boost, or there's something you can, um, what would be, I was gonna say move forwards to. Actually tells Zane that the dude and his gymming, he's starting to get buff. He walks in every morning and makes frets. Hey, give me your lasagna, I'll smash you. Come on. And him being half Italian, I wouldn't be surprised if he calls the mob on me. But today is quite silent, so I think it's that gymming nature that's kicking through. Um, yes, I don't know how many of you actually watched the Godfather. So me and my little sister, we came into an argument recently. We watched also a movie within the confines of an Italian mob, and we argued because she thought that was The Godfather, and I told her, you haven't watched The Godfather yet. And she thought she did because of that being an Italian movie, but stupid family arguments. I don't know how many of you have siblings, but it's very difficult not killing them sometimes. You know what? I think I'm just going to tilt this thing. My arm is not going to be able to roll that moves. A bit too thick. Hey, that's what she said. Don't tell Daniël and Dylan I make these jokes on stream. It might fire me. Not PR friendly. Not PR, HR friendly. A little bit of banter we can get into, talking nonsense. I don't know, something that was fun that I did earlier today. I did a bit of a anatomy study. That's always just fun, you know. Just basically trying to draw human or whatever anatomy and see how close you can get to it. But without any reference, just based on the knowledge you already have of that topic. And I think that's something you guys can practice. It's really fun. Well, for me it is at least. Actually, I'm going to flip this thing again. I'm sorry, please don't get motion sickness. I have one of my friends lives in a fishing town. Now, when I was smaller, we went on a school trip and we went on a boat. And there's this kind of, I don't want to say dopamine, but there's kind of adrenaline rush when the waves kind of hit the boat and lift you up. So we basically just stand. All of the girls were kind of below deck. They got somewhat of motion sickness, while the guys just like went and stood at the front of the MSS, front of the let's say deck. I don't know what it's called, but we wanted to feel the salty water on our face. But mostly we wanted to get get that feeling of the lift and the dip of the waves, because there was some kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's the type of feeling you wish your wife can give you one day. uh, but so we thought that's fun. So my one friend that lives in the fishing town, I started the story with him. He basically told me that what we experienced was basically nothing. Because the deeper you get into the ocean, the more extreme the waves get. Well, obviously, but that wasn't what we considered it in our 10-year-old brains. So the deeper you get, the worse it gets. And if he didn't get motion sickness at that point, wait till you get deeper into the sea. Because he said his first time doing it, I'm not gonna put words in his mouth, but I think he mentioned that the first time he did it was kind of nauseous. Or at least for first timers it is. Because it's not something you expect. Yo, sorry. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm yawning again. So I'm kind of using 99% of my brain power to think of nonsense. Maybe fun movie facts. What am I extreme fanboy of that I can just kind of rant about? Oh, so we live in South Africa, ne? So there's a new anime movie round and about, and you may know what I'm talking about. It's the Chainsaw Man movie. Now, for those that don't know, I'm a massive Chainsaw Man fan. Uh, but basically, this morning I saw a post from Sony Entertainment saying that the Chainsaw movie was basically classified the best movie of the year, and on Rotten Tomatoes it was like 100%. Well, on IMDb it got like 2 out of 5 stars, but we kind of know why that is. I'm not going to make any. Listen, if this was my own Twitch channel or whatever, I'd make as much comments about whatever I want to, but since this is not my own channel, and since we are working towards certain goals, I'm not going to shoot the entire team in the foot by voicing certain opinions that probably shouldn't be voiced, which I also think is a bunch of nonsense, because you know corporate is just like, it sucks. If you played Cyberpunk 2077, you know what I'm talking about. Corporate just sucks. It's like they either pay you or sue you to keep your mouth shut. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that has a problem doing that, so neither suing or paying me will keep my mouth shut. You're probably going to have to off me to do that. And I hope Nintendo didn't hear me saying that. But anyway, I was talking about the Chainsaw Man movie. So in South Africa, it's only coming out this Friday. So I'm still a bit hazy. Like, I know I did read the manga. I know what's going to happen, but the movie's got me so hyped. I really want to go watch it, but I'm still a little bit on the fence about it, just mainly due to current finances. Because yesterday I did go out and buy some steaks, and steaks aren't necessarily cheap. But we have something to celebrate. Talking about anime, uh, did you guys know we are one of these days one of these days within a few weeks we are going to do Five Nights at Freddy anime. Now I do want to tell you, don't kind of get your hopes up and thinking, oh, this is a full-on anime, because I I say this all the time, but we really have to rush these videos and stuff. So it's kind of a quality versus quantity, and at this point we're leaning a bit more towards quantity. But there is a certain frame by frame animation within within the opening. uh, I think uh, it's very much poking fun at anime. I think that's the majority of it. It's just like poking fun at the typical stereotypes that you will find in general anime, slice of, especially slice of life. But since our channel also consists of a lot of comedy and stuff like that, um, you can kind of expect it to kind of lean more towards a comedic side. Imagine something like Gintama, but at the lower animated quality, if I can put it like that. Yeah. Also, there's an interesting game I recently saw that I want to buy. I know nothing about it, but it looks interesting. It's called. Let me just check. I think. Yeah, Indica. Indica. Something like that. Where you basically play as a nun, but it's one of those games where you don't know if you're having a fever dream or not, because the game is almost basically about um, you're playing as this nun, but you know how in most stories or games you kind of have this, I almost want to say sidekick character with you, where in this case it's you're a nun, but your sidekick character is the devil, and the whole game is kind of a mixture between how do I put it? It's horror, it's comedy, it's like, I'm not supposed to use these words, but it's of every genre that exists. Uh, Also, there's another game that I actually quite want. It's Plague Tale Requiem. So in one of our, I think last week Wednesday, we talked about this. Um, Rochelle brought up Plague Tale Innocence, which is the prequel to Requiem. And I have Innocence. I played the game. It is a fantastic game. I advise you to go buy it. But Requiem is, at this point, uh, it is on special. The 29th of October 2025. It is on special this moment. So I really want to actually go buy that. But now I have a bit of a, again, financial situation. I have to choose between the Chainsaw movie and the game. Eh, I don't even have a Crunchyroll subscription, so I can't watch it at home. Unless I put on an eye patch and a hook and dedicate my life to becoming the Pirate King. Just gonna flip this guy again. Ooh, Buona Matata. Uh, there was this morning I thought of an Afrikaans word that was so funny because if you translate it directly to English, what word was it? Oh, so you have uh, this. So in America or wherever you guys talk about a traffic cop. So in my home language we call it a speed cop, which if you translate it directly to English, I don't know what the hell speed means in another language, but uh, cop means head. Now that doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. But what I imagine is happening is like when you take one language and you take that spelling of the word and you directly uh, take it and read it in your language's dialect. So, for example, in our language, there is a word called cut, and if you translate it, or if an English speaking person read that, they'd read it as cat. So that's an example. So what I think happened is with Speedkop, with Speedkop, it actually is just a direct translate, or not direct translation, but they just tried reading Speed Cop. So I think that's just basically what they did. Um, See, again, Rochelle is saying she's hungry, but unfortunately, very unfortunately, Zayn did not bring his pasta with him today. Very unfortunate.
Bro, am I stupid? Yes,
What?
I'm being silly. Don't worry about it. Being a little stupid.
Give me like 2 seconds.
No, it's not nothing. I could have done something so much easier than fuck around for 20 minutes trying to figure that I. It's specific circumstance. Don't worry about it.
We learned that now. Sorry, it's just me having to bit of mentoring the intern. We're still kind of um, learning him stuff. I guess you can put it that way. Or you can say I'm learning him stuff.
I'm learning himself, like the fact that he's trying to say the word teacher.
Teacher.
Yes.
No, that wouldn't be the correct term.
No, you're teaching me.
No, in a professional setting, mentorship and teacher basically means the same thing. We just use the term mentor to sound more professional.
I'm saying you were saying you were learning me, which is
Oh.
not correct.
I'm not learning him stuff, I'm teaching him stuff.
There you go. Good job.
I can't wait till the day comes where I can actually speak English properly. Like a man's. Again, whenever I say something and you don't understand what I'm saying, just Google Translate it. Or just go down to the comment section and ask what the hell I just said. But I think it's funny if you try to guess. It's funny for me. Because in a certain sense, I do tend to be a bit of a sadist. So, my mom had a boyfriend way back when, and I did not like the dude. So in the hostel, I was in a hostel. So in the hostel, we had this trick where we would take a bottle of deodorant, a bottle of deodorant, and a lighter, and we would spray our hands like completely wet with the deodorant, and then we would take the lighter and set our hands on fire. But obviously, we were smart enough to kind of shake our hand and kind of uh, distinguish, not distinguish, yeah, and just like get off the flame. But um, I decided, okay, this weekend we're going home. I'm gonna show this trick to the boyfriend I don't like. I set my hand on fire. I was like, hey, look at this cool trick I'm doing, and I did this motion to kind of kill the flame. For lack of a word I can pronounce. So he decided he's a big man too. He's smart and stuff. So he does the same trick, but instead of kind of trying to choke the flame out, the Mampara takes his flaming hand and tries to get rid of the flame by rubbing it on his jeans. Needless to say, he set himself on fire, and I won't take responsibility for that because it was his own choice to do it. And okay, I didn't try to talk him out of it, and I thought it was funny as hell when he set himself on fire. But I didn't tell him to do that. That was free will. He did it out of his own accord. My life consists out of fire. If I remember all the things I set on fire as a kid. We didn't on the farm I grew up. We didn't have electricity. We used candles. So one of my toys got lost under my bed. I really wanted to fetch the toy. What did end up happening was me crawling underneath the bed with the candle, and the bed had a wooden frame. Need I tell you what happened next? I set the whole bed on fire. Thank the dear Lord, not the room. I was still very young. I don't know how they did it, but they managed to extinguish the flame. Extinguish was the word I was looking for, and I basically said distinguish. I was like, it sounds very much like the correct word, but it's not. Do a bit here, and we're going to do a bit here. Uh, I'm talking about fire. There was the chicken coop. So again, this is on the farm, and kids are not necessarily smart. So what ended up happening was I got in trouble for something. I did something. I'm not going to discuss it because it's quite horrific. And every time I tell the story, somebody kind of freaks out about it. But I did cause some big trouble, and me and the other kid that was living on the farm at the time, we basically ran away because he was also involved in this crime. So we ran around the farm trying to hide and avoid the adults, and they had a giant chicken coop at their home. And I don't know where, I don't know how, but we managed to get uh, a little box of matches, and we climbed into the chicken coop with it. Now, please take into consideration the chicken coop is filled with hay, and I don't know why there was hay, but there was hay in the chicken coop and feathers and all that stuff. We set the chicken coop on fire, and some of the chickens, amongst other things, I would not say that's one of my proudest moments, but it was a funny moment. I kids are horrific. They don't even know the extent of what they're doing and how wrong it is. Um, what else did I do as a kid that was uh, not kosher? I'm not a masochist. This is something stupid that I did. I had a friend, and he would do stuff that would kind of hurt himself. Then he would tell me to do it, such as taking a stapling his own hand, and then telling me to do it, and then me doing it, then me crying about it. And one day the dude pepper sprayed me. I was not happy about that. It hurt. It hurt like hell. Um, a 7 year old getting pepper sprayed, not really funny. And I can't see what's happening behind the screen. But if you're laughing at me, I'm not very pleased with you. Um, but anyway, the one day I remember we got a trampoline, and we moved the trampoline in front of the house because we could manage to kind of climb onto the, almost want to say roof, but it wasn't really the roof. It was just like an elevated platform, but it was pretty high, and it wasn't meant to be climbed. But again, if if a kid wants to do something, he'll manage to do it one way or another. So we climbed on the platform and we jumped off it. And the thing is, we had to land uh, face flat on it, on the trampoline. And basically, with I have a pretty big nose, so my nose going flat, it wasn't really a pleasant experience either. Kind of getting squished between my skull and the whatever material. trampolines are made out of. Yeah, we did a lot of not good stuff as kids. This is also a stupid story. I remember getting my one friend. He also lived on a farm at some point, and I went to visit him over the weekend. You know, sometimes I feel so bloody old. At that point, we didn't touchscreens didn't even exist. When the first touchscreen came out, it was like, whoa! We lived in the era of Nokia's and Blackberries. So, but anyway, um, so his little sister was being a typical little sister at that point, and we went to do some, let's say, chores. Uh, what happened was we went into the chicken coop, and I think we were meant to feed the chickens, and she decided to lock us up in the chicken coop with a very how would I put this, very territorial hen. And chickens tend to not be scary, but when they want to be, they can. And that thing chased us around the coop. Damn. Luckily, there was a little bit of escape hole, and we managed to get through that. One of my favorite memories of being a kid was doing, I'll say it in quotations, ghost hunting, because what the hell does a kid know? We basically just tried to scare each other as bad as we could. Um, and we were actually trying to hunt ghosts because I generally had this talent of, again, I'm good with talking nonsense, but I have this talent of making up stories and having other kids believing it. So I told them this made up story of uh, our house, or specifically the street we lived in, being haunted. Reason I did that was we lived in Afrikaans we refer to it as a Stasi huis, which we'd probably refer to as a station house, which basically was a thing back when trains were still a popular form of transportation, where it basically the train master's house. So it was a bunch of houses that was located next to where the train station was supposed to be, if I can put it like that. But of course, trains don't go through there anymore, and people don't take the train there anymore. So it's pretty much just a abandoned train rail. Besides that, if you go a little further beyond the train rail, there is the town's graveyard. So when we moved into this new place, I saw the opportunity to talk my friends all scared by telling them this made up story based on some horror books I read as a kid. And from that, we turned into Ghostbusters. And there's a bunch of, like, I don't know where we heard all this nonsense, but there was a bunch of folk tales and lore and stuff like that we got our hands onto. For example, if you take a little bell and you hang it in your window, let's say windowsill, And if you leave the window open and it's a night that's relatively without wind and the bell starts ringing, then you have most likely have a ghost in your apartment or your house or wherever you live. But it's fine. It depends on the ghost. If it's a scary movie ghost, it's not that big of a problem. If it's any other ghost, you're a little bit. "Ugh." We recently watched The Conjuring: The Last Rite. I don't know how many of you guys are fan of horrors and stuff, but I looked at that film and it's like based on true events, but it's so over dramatic. I want to say, I feel like it's very. If they just didn't make it so extreme and kind of kept it to a more how do I put this, mellow type of vibe, which I presume it would have really been if it was a actual haunting. I think it would have a much greater effect because at the end of the movie it was more like an action scene. They really went into it, and I feel that took away from the suspense and just the plain. I almost want to say order, the actual order of it, because I feel there's this quote, and I think it was H.P. Lovecraft that made this quote, where he said, uh, "The strongest emotions, or the strongest emotion a human has, is fear, and the greatest fear is the fear of the unknown." Something like that. I think it was the strongest and oldest emotion a human has is fear, and the greatest fear is the unknown. So I think with what they do with these movies, where they try to expand on the law and give explanations to everything, it kind of diminishes the kind of the mystery and the suspense behind it. And again, with this huge spike in horror movies we had these last few decades and whatnot, I think we kind of got used to how jump scares work. The music go down, the music go down, it's silent, and then you kind of expect the jump scare because it's all silent and suspenseful right now. Um, so I think it would be cool if there's a writer or just a director or someone that can manage to figure out a new way to create an effective jump scare, because at this point that's not really effective anymore. I'm not one that is a horror movie fan, but even when I watch this stuff, I'm able to um, realize when there's going to be a jump scare, and I don't think that that's supposed to be the purpose of a horror movie. I kind of feel you messed up if your audience is able to tell when a jump scare is going to happen. So no offense to the directors and stuff, but yeah, I feel like that's just something we kind of have to work on. And a lot of movies and genres and stuff like that has fallen into this cliche. And I almost feel also this is why people prefer books over movies and stuff, because in I'm not going to even try to pronounce the correct word. Uh, in stories, poetry, stuff like that, you kind of have to imagine everything own, uh, which I feel kind of boosts the imagination. Probably get rid of this. So I'm just having to focus now. No, so it kind of helps with the imagination. You're going to have to figure out in your head how everything looks just based on the description of what is given to you. And sometimes your vision of how it looks like and what somebody else imagined it to look like, it varies from night and day. Especially if the description is very vague. Then you kind of fit it into what you not necessarily hope it to be, but want it to be. And again, this is where I think with horror, it also falls onto, I will say, under the group of suspense and thriller, because with a mystery, you kind of, the whole point of a mystery is the guessing part of it. And I feel with horror, the guessing part plays a role in it because you don't know when what is going to happen. That for me, that plays a huge role in horror and how you kind of have to navigate that system. And so when the jump scares become ineffective, you basically kill the franchise. Not necessarily the franchise, but the movie. It's become a let's say a cliche. So yeah, movies. Uh, but to be honest or frank with you, if I'd have to tell you my favorite genre, probably something between action and maybe comedy. Again, I like horror, but I feel modern day horror is kind of, it's not what it used to be. I'll put it like that. It's not what it used to be. I feel like almost also the creativity got sucked out of it. Everything is just a copy paste now. Well, there are some of them that's still pretty good, but that's more of the less mainstream indie developers and stuff like that. They're kind of taking over. There's some really good stuff that's being pumped out. And I feel it's kind of sad when these kind of stuff get pushed under the table because, again, I hate huge corporations. They, there's not really much of a promotion for smaller projects and stuff like that. Uh, Mainly because huge corporations want their product to be advertised, bought and sold, and smaller developers and directors and stuff, they don't really have the, let's say, finances to promote or advertise their products. And if you listen to um, my previous streams, you'd probably know what companies I'm actually uh, most, let's say, mad at. They just, they completely rub me off the wrong way.
Um,
Yes.
Okay, so rub me the wrong way is the expression. Rub me off means to give someone a hand job.
We don't. Okay, I understand the explanation, but we can't really say it so explicitly.
Oh, I forgot word. Haha. We'll be fine.
I hope so. But apparently certain.
Listen, the
crap
way it
would-
works has been said on Twitch.
Yeah, because in the office sometimes I say something but nobody corrects me. All of a sudden they just burst out laughing. And I don't know why. Oh, now I guess I know why. Uh, yeah, now my brain kind of stalled. I think we can talk about maybe lasagna. I'm not the chef. I'm more of a barbecue guy. Actually, that's a sin to use that term in South Africa. We call it a braai, which is basically an open fire barbecue. But if you try to compare barbecue to a braai, you'd most likely get shot with a shotgun here. That's a big no-no in our culture. But I am a braai master. When it comes to the grill and the flame and the steak, I'm an absolute legend. Where my little sister, she's a goat with pasta. I think she can give Zane a run for his money. Where is Zane? The dude is so quiet. He just disappeared. He was here like a moment ago. Now he's gone. Freaky, man. And it's not even Friday yet. Okay, let's see if there's any spots we missed. Wow. Look how small it is here and how much I enlarged it there. I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. Now we can. I'm just going to go to the coloring and fix in there. So yeah, basically what I do, I think I did explain this last time. I'm just going to put on a base color and then afterwards I'm going to put on the shading. Oh my goodness me. His hair is so close to black. I really want just to grab him and dye his hair a lighter color so it's just not so difficult for me to see what the hell I'm doing. You know what? Actually, we should bleach his hair. I think I would have made the color black, probably, but the reason I didn't do that was just purely to see these individual strands of hair and lines and stuff. I am kinda not liking how different they look from each other, so I hope when I kinda add the shading and the stuff, it's going to look better. I missed a spot there. I'll fix that after I, put on the base color for this side. Um, Rochelle, she said, "Let me." Let you what? I'm afraid. She sometimes leave these strange comments, man. And I don't know if I should be thankful for her commenting or be a bit afraid. Oh, you want to color his hair? Yeah, take the pencil. I wouldn't mind you doing it. Zane? Rochelle said she wants to color your hair.
Okay.
Just a straight okay. You have his consent.
Go for it, man.
So I'm just going to I'll take this picture. Just get rid of all the extra layers. Just take that, print it and send it to her over the mail.
Might as well. Go for it. You can send it back.
Right, you said don't send it back.
No, I said you can. You can send it back. And then maybe I'll dye my hair that color. Who knows?
Oh, so yeah, you basically said we print it, we send the picture to you, you color the hair in whatever color you want, you send it back, and then you'll dye his hair that color.
Maybe.
Maybe. Depends on the color. I think you would look good if you bleach your hair. It's like Killer Bee.
No. I'll do frosted tips. That's about it with bleach.
Frosted tips nogal. Oh, so Rochelle, you can actually. I actually wish you were kind of here so that you can contribute to the conversation without me having to read out all of your comments, because this girl can leave some funny comments. Sure. I almost feel if the chat someday expands, it's why do I feel like kinda I didn't leave out parts. It's kinda weird. I feel like I did. Just going to go over it other day. Okay, now we go to outline. We grab our other brush, which I wished we were done with. And if we look at this one, we cry. Because this little bit still needs to be colored. Yep. Let me just check. It's gonna make me cry. I think after this pose, we're going to take a little break of poses. I'm not going to self-finish it today. Probably. Or tomorrow. I won't finish it even tomorrow, maybe. Let's say at latest on Monday. After that, I'm going to be a bit stuck in trying to have to figure out what I'm going to do on stream then. Zayn did mention dancing in a bikini, but I'm not going to do that.
Why?
Why am I not going to do it? Because I'm not a politically correct word that I'm not supposed to use. The thing is, I know they know what I'm trying to say. They know.
You can't get in trouble with that statement.
Just pure statements. I can't get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
I'm implying something, but you deciding what I'm implying is kind of accusational.
Just gonna kill one of your viewers real quick.
Which one? Oh.
And there we go. Dead.
Murdered.
Wait, why did she say cease saying? What did I do?
What?
Up there. What did I do? I wasn't even here. What did I do?
I talked about lasagna at some point, so I don't know. It was probably that.
What's wrong with lasagna?
No, she likes lasagna.
Yeah.
I don't know what I said that upset it.
What did I do, man? I didn't know I wasn't even part of this conversation.
Nah, I mentioned you in the conversation. And usually you're in the chat, so.
Yeah, not today. Today I'm busy.
Oh, today you're busy with something. What are you doing?
I'm making a Duet Night Abyss video. Came out yesterday. 10 hours worth of footage, bro. It's like 90 gigs.
When is the video coming out?
Hopefully tomorrow. Can't be today. It's too much in the video.
The webcam's here. You can promote it.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Why not? We can promote it.
She said she will
see us one day.
See us, yeah. I'll be here.
We'll be waiting.
We'll be waiting.
It sounds like the end of I think the first Transformers movie. We are here.
Optimus
We are
Prime.
waiting.
Stop.
If Peter Cullen dies, we're fucked. Like, by the way, for listen, the thing is, Zayn's streaming. We can't really say he's streamed too early for viewers to watch. It's more like he's streaming too late because he's streaming like early morning hours from 1 till whenever. Like, I think the day before yesterday, it was Monday, his stream ended at 4 a.m. So I don't know why I'm the one that's yawning. He kinda wrecked himself with that stream. He didn't actually even come in yesterday because he was wrecked. But yeah, we can talk to Zane about streaming hours. I had to adjust my hours like so many times at this point now. But oh yeah, by the way, I came prepared again with my E.I.E water bottle that Daniël doesn't get us anymore. So yeah. Okay, I think we're set now, so just gonna get this. You know, we're not set. You see all these kind of hatching that I did just to fill in the blank spaces. I'm just gonna zoom in and turn off the color just to kind of see what I'm doing. Early this morning, talking to the intern, I did tell him when you do hatching or shading, creases of clothing, it's good to always try and keep the shape of whatever you're working on, or so that the lines tend to follow the shape. So when you have a sphere, well, that's a horrible sphere, like this, line should kind of always, oh my check, always kind of follow the shape. So yeah, I don't know if that illustrates my vision so far, if I can call it a vision. My explanation. So it's kind of just filling in the blank spots at the moment, just so it doesn't look too plain. We're working towards a brighter future. Again, it's always good if you go look at other artists' work just to see what they're doing. You know, some people are just not good at with explaining stuff, so a lot of time you kind of have to figure it out on your own, which is, it's okay. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, I think I didn't go as hectic here as I did with the other one. But that's fun, I actually prefer this. It's less all over the place. And I don't think it even matters that much because because his hair is so dark, you won't even really notice this. The only reason I'm doing it for the most part is because I know I'm going to notice it. we can get back to filling in the base color. Oh. When we eventually make the stickers, I'm going to do one that's just going to be a call out towards me for every time I'm drawing on the wrong layer, so that the chat just throw out the sticker, oh, the wrong layer. Because I swear that happens almost daily if I'm lucky. Generally an hour at an hourly rate. Okay, now we get the color. My Moses. Like, I really hope that the shading helps Zane looks more like Zane. But I think I messed up. Let's just try and fix all of this. Ugh. While I'm fixing this, I almost brought up Skylanders. I love that game as a kid. It was awesome. The first game, I almost collected all of them. It's like a few of them slipped from my fingers. We have a shop nearby where I live, which still sells some of them. Like every now and then I pop in and just see what I missed out on life. I wonder why games just like give such a sense of fulfillment. It's probably because my dad never told me he loved me. But you know, Xbox will give me, I get achievements if I get something right with Xbox. Damn it. So I'm a bit quiet now. I'm just really focusing on the air. Oh, Rochelle asked how Dylan is doing. Dylan, I think for the most part is doing fine. Diewoud's girlfriend. I'm collecting bones for her. So that's how it's going on his front. I think Dylan's biggest obstacle in life at the moment is his dog that he adopted a while back. But the puppy is a bit difficult to raise sometimes, as I gather. Ah, good check. Oh, you meant how is he as a boss? He's pretty chill. The whole environment here is chill. It's not. It's definitely not a retail job kind of vibe, where you're threatened to do your job or they're going to kick you out. I think most likely that's because I am actually doing my job, but at least get some good amounts of breaks. Yeah, I think we're done with the hair. So you can see there's major differences in it. Probably fix that in the next pose. I kind of rushed this one there, but anyway, we can get to the shading. And this is the one I really wanted to because I hope it's just going to fix things a bit. See, we talked about sadism a while back. We have one in the chat. Just, she wants to scream about wrong layers. But actually I did draw on the wrong layers like just a second ago. Okay. But see, drawing on the wrong layer isn't that big of a train smash usually. But it depends on what you're doing and how long you've been doing it. Like for example, one wrong layer mistake that I can live with is when I create a new layer and name it something like outline, but then I would do the sketch on it, which isn't that big of a deal because that just means I have to rename the layer and create the other one for the outline, which is basically 2 seconds. But sometimes what I do is I draw on, like for example, the head on a separate layer than the body, for reasons being that I imagine this being the finished edit, but I want to maybe later change some things on the one end without disturbing the other layer. And when I do that, I realize like just 5 minutes or I don't know how far in the process I realize, oh damn, it's the wrong layer. So then that gets a little bit troublesome to fix. Yeah, I don't know, this version of Zane, it's less zany and more like some sort of Hollywood actor. Let's just get the outline out of the way of the shading, because when we done with that, then actually filling in the shading is going to be a walk in the park. I think for the face that's it. Looks completely messy at the moment, but when we kind of get into it, it's just easier. Okay, so now that we're on the easy part of the drawing again, we can talk about complete nonsense again. Where were we at, to be honest? Let's talk about specific games, I guess. Should we talk about World of Warcraft? Something relatable that most people play. Candy Crush. Or movie most people know. Madagascar. Shrek. Yo, the 2000s was such a great year, ne? It was amazing. And it was specifically amazing because I was born that year. Not the... So, the first decade of 2000, I purely made it fantastic. The world was blessed with my presence. If you haven't realized, I have a very deep God complex. By the way, for the people that can't tell, I'm making a joke about that. I don't have a God complex. Well, maybe I do, but I won't be public about it. But psychology and stuff like that it's kind of funny and messing with people, because there are some people that you have this spectrum where you have let's say the people with the God complex and the narcissists and people like that, and then you have completely the other end of the spectrum that's just a bunch of people that's insecure and has low self-esteem. Let's say insecurity complex. So it's kind of funny how it's to a sense still being studied to this day, because how deeply how do I put it, complex the brain is. Michelle asking what she is. I don't know. You're an optimist, I guess. Well, there's actually other term I would use for you, but I'm not going to use it on stream. But it's it's not a politically incorrect term, but it's more so of an explicit term. Under the it kind of falls under the PG-18 kind of situation. Peggy 18. That was also cool. Those Peggy 18 advertisements. I remember me watching the Assassin's Creed Black Flag trailer, and when I think of the trailer, the thing that I immediately think of first is Peggy 18. And that trailer was that was an awesome trailer. I loved it. And I actually got the game at some point, and I loved the game. Some people do comment that the gameplay is a little bit repetitive, and I guess that's kind of true. There's a lot of stealth missions which kind of suck. I didn't like the stealth following kind of stuff, but yeah, the game at least it was fun to play. And yeah, I'm very glad to say that Zane actually looks like Zane now, more or less. And I just have to add the beard or the stubble. I think the only one of us in the office that actually grew a proper beard at some point was Dylan. The rest of us just we're struggling to get there. But one day, I promise you, one day we'll have our own proper beards. All of a sudden I got some hiccups. I wonder if they're going to cast me for How to Train Your Dragons now. Okay, now. See, now I have to do the beard. And the thing is with the beard, it's a bit more difficult than the hair. Because I'm using not one brush, but two brushes to do it. I'm gonna have to get rid of the color on that one. So it kind of also has to follow the shape of the face. And then I also have to take into account how much facial hair Zane has and how deep it goes into his face, because you do have some people that grows actual facial hair properly, and then you get some people that grows a goatee and a thing underneath. The cheeks are, there's nothing on the cheeks. Zane is one of those people that has facial hair on the cheeks, but also on the neck. Actually, with this I probably went a bit too intense, because now it looks like he has facial hair around his neck, not just in the front. But yeah, let's get to it, I guess. Procrastination gets you nowhere. Which is sad coming from my own mouth, because I used to be a huge a huge word I can't pronounce. For some reason, because I can pronounce procrastinate. Now I can't even pronounce that. It's like my English has a on and off switch. Probably should go a bit less intense. Ooh, why not? You know what would actually be quite cool, Rochelle? If you would, every time if I say something in Afrikaans, you should translate it to the English viewers. I think that would be kind of a cool idea. What's up? I thought you were busy with something.
What's you mentioning Steam?
Scream.
Steam.
Scream. Where it's a typo, it's stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she basically said you streamed too early for her to watch.
Oh yeah, no, it was. I started at like 20 to 4 in the morning, because the game had just come out, so I just wanted to cover it
as quick as possible.
As quick as possible, yeah. And I had a lot of fun. I might stream later today. Maybe. I'll see.
What time?
Probably 8 p.m. maybe.
Let's put in it's Joy Boy Zeep.
Yeah.
Around,
yeah, pretty much that, yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna type it. So for the people that want to watch Zane's stream, I'm just going to put it in the chat.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it'll be
shameless promotion.
Yeah, don't even stress about it. I'll stream in about 6 hours and 25 minutes. I'll start the stream. 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Let me just check. Yeah, it's more or less correct. Now just to fill it in a bit because it's very, I don't want to say bland, but almost empty looking. I'm just gonna black this part out a bit. I don't know, let me just quickly check. So I don't ever notice if you noticed, let's take your army for example. It's just like a bunch of lines until it gets to, let's say this is the end of your arm, this is your arm, this bit. So it's just a bunch of lines on your arm until it gets to the top and it gets its own kind of, let's say, silhouette. Then it's also just a thick dumpster of hair. Compact. Okay, cool. Now the thing is, we're going to have to kind of connect them in such a way. it almost seems natural. That instead of the individual beer strands coming out of this black mass, it kind of seems like it's being cut into. Yeah. So, how many of the girls in the chat, how many of you actually have beards? Just out of curiosity. And are they natural or hormone induced? That I think I don't know if I made someone angry with that question or it's a funny question nonetheless. Okay. Okay, let's get into this. Just spin this out a bit. You doing good back there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, let's see what other nonsense I can talk about. Maybe stuff we did in high school. Oh, this is a horror story I can tell you. So, we lived in the hostel. Well, I was in the hostel. We had this story about we called it the Blue Woman. Um, there's different variations of the story. I'm not really sure which one is the correct one. Where it is one where she got locked in a room and the people forgot about her and she basically died of hunger or neglect or whatever, which is probably a false one. Then there's the other one about she getting or she got pregnant and the guy that got her pregnant cheated on her and there was some sort of conflict and she got pushed down the stairs and died via that. So the hostel was basically a U shape, with the middle part of the hostel being the study hall and the eating hall. On your right side, you have the boys' side of the hostel, and on the left side, you have the girls' side of the hostel. Uh, but way back when, then the hostel only had one side, so it was kind of like an L shape. Then we still had the study hall, the and the dinner hall, but it was a girls' only hostel. So later on, they built the other side and made it a unisex hostel. But the story basically goes that at some point a girl died. Gedood. On the one side of the hostel, which was the guy's side, which was way back when the girl's side, and so she haunts there. Though there is a piano on the girl's side, which is rumored to play by itself in the night. My little sister claimed she saw this happen once. Well, it's my little sister, so I don't know how much I can trust her. Exactly. Zayn,
Yo.
if we cuss in Afrikaans, how quickly would Twitch tell that one up?
Do not do it. Just don't do it regardless. Even if
don't-
it happens, you know, there'll always be people who will try and cancel you because they don't like you for no reason. So
Nah, but they're way too small for that at the moment.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When people used to cuss when they were smaller, and then they became larger in the space, and then people found early videos of them cussing and saying bad shit, and then they get
Oh,
Don't
no.
say slurs, we should be fine.
Well, no, we're not saying slurs, but like there are certain cuss words that
There are certain cuss words that you probably shouldn't say.
yeah. But the historical analysis backgrounds of certain words like the F word. Do you know what it stands for?
Dating under the consent of the king.
Fornication under consent of the king. And that's also the reason why when a girl tells you she wants it to be that word, that's what she means. There's also the story about I think it was the French. So when they shoot with the bow, what would happen a lot of the time? I think they would lose their middle finger, and the other people will tease them by saying, they would show them the finger and tell them pluck you. So I think that's also a part of where the term comes from. This looks a bit more like Zane, but not quite yet. I don't know, this version just looks a bit weird. I think it might just be the hair. His head looks so, I almost want to say squished. Yeah, okay, let's put in the shading. Oh man, in the color. Okay, it looks a little bit more like Zane now. I think it was just mainly the let's just kind of see what happens if we do that. Yeah, it looks more like Zane now. We can get away by saying it looks like Zane. Now let's try. Okay, this is the other part of the process that I hate. Is before we do that, let's just. This is also something we just do. So the beard doesn't really look thick. It's very meh. So we kinda just use this pen to thicken it out a bit. Pen or brush, whatever you wish to call it. So yeah. The chat wants a specific topic they want me to talk about. They can throw it out there. I'll probably actually do talk about it. I like talking. It's just sometimes it's a bit hard to thumbsuck something just like that. I can talk about. Oh, shoot! I can actually talk about some manga I read. but a lot of the stuff I read is seinen, so which is just basically it's a demographic meaning it's for young adults, and certain topics they discuss it's not really Twitch safe, if I can put it like that. So it is one of those stuff I would actually like to discuss, but it's a bit of a gray area. Like, can I actually discuss it? Like, one that I'm thinking about now is called Humunculus, which it was a great story, but it is extremely adult. Which was basically the guy went through this procedure. He's a homeless guy, but they promised him X amount of money if he does this procedure for them. And the reason they got him for the procedure was it was very experimental, and it was like, okay, if a homeless guy is going to die from this, nobody's really going to care. But it kind of, the whole point of it was to open his third eye, and it kind of did. And he started seeing people as they are psychologically. So, for example, I'm going to use this one person because it's the one that I remember clearly. It was a dude, but it was trans. So when he looked at the dude, he didn't see like this guy dressing up as a woman. He saw a figure, a glass figure, and there was basically, I don't know if it was one or two koi fish within the glass figure. So it kind of psychologically represented he is the glass figure, and the glass figure represents what he is. He is a male, and the fish inside the glass figure is who he actually is, which is a female. So you kind of have to break the glass in order to set the fish free, if that makes sense. So he sees the psychological form of the people, and then he tries to help them with that. I also remember at some point in the story there was this other chick. I think she was a high schooler, I think. But she had a bunch of problems at home, and how do I put this in a, she kind of went towards the streets, if I can put it like that. She went more that direction, and the way he saw her in a psychological light was he basically saw this girl, and it was only the shape of the girl. She basically existed out of a bunch of words, but like small, really, really small. Like you need a magnifying glass to read the words, and all of the words were basically the insults the mom and dad threw at her. So it was a lot of it came from a form of not necessarily insecurity, but a bit of trauma. Also, trauma wouldn't necessarily be the correct word. There's a other word that I could use to describe it, which is better fitting, but I can't think of it now. Why are you being so thick? Probably think I shouldn't put that long of a strand there. the also two, actually there's, I call them the trio, three mangas that I really liked. The one is Vinland Saga, the one is Vagabond, and the other is Berserk, though I'm less of a Berserk fan. I'm not that big of a fan in comparison with the other two. The specific reason I like Vinland Saga is most of these stories are driven by, oh, I want to be stronger or powerful, I want to be this or that. Where Vinland Saga is interesting in the sense of the story is driven, the character is driven by just purely being a better human being and being peaceful, and that's just kind of, I almost want to say, refreshing for me personally. There was this, I don't want to necessarily say it was a meme, but it was something going around where the main protagonist Thorfinn, where he was basically saying, I have no enemies, and that was something that went around for a while. That basically sums up this, let's say, the latter half of the story. And Vagabond. Oh, Vagabond is a story I would recommend over and over and over. Which is basically, I kind of want to say fan fiction of a historical character called Miyamoto Musashi, which is basically a swordsman. He was a Ronin that never lost a single battle in his life. I think that was the case. But he later developed a certain sword style, which is basically using two swords during a fight. That previously wasn't a thing, I think. Again, a lot of these is me just talking out of memory, and my memory doesn't always tend to be good. But that was a... The story isn't finished, and I highly doubt the author is going to pick it up again. But for what it is, it's still a really good read. And especially the character development is also, I want to say, fantastic. It's really good. I think now we're at the point of time where Zane actually looks like Zane again. Yeah. For a moment there I was worrying a bit. Another good stories I read. One, I think one that keeps popping up in my mind now is Sunken Rock. Also, again, it's a very adult themed book, but it's basically a Japanese guy that started a Korean gang, which kind of turned in I almost want to say a worldwide operation, but again, it was a really good story. I enjoyed it. I think that's probably the most important one. I like stuff that delves a little bit deeper than your basic, oh, I want to do this or that, and, you know, very shallow ambitions. The guy that did Sunken Rock, the artist, is also a bloody amazing artist. I did talk about him previously in a stream. He's called E.I.E. I don't know if that's a pen name, but I can't find his actual name, if that's a pen name. So for now, let's call him just E.I.E. But he is also the artist for Dr. Stone and one of my favorites was, I think, called Origin or Origins. Was basically the protagonist is this robot. I don't know if you ever watched Nine, but it kind of reminds me of that movie. Nine, as a kid, when I watched that movie, it just completely freaked me out. It didn't match with the vibe of the movie. It didn't match with me. Yeah. Actually, if I were to say what is one of my favorite movies of all time, I'd actually tell you it's one of them. Not all of. I wouldn't say it necessarily fall into the. It would probably fall into the top 10. It probably would. I wouldn't say my favorite or something like that, but it's a movie I really enjoyed. It's Paprika. That was an excellent movie. I loved it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but the writing wasn't necessarily good, but the visuals and the soundtrack and they really went all out in that one. Okay, now Zane actually looks like Zane in this one. I can kind of get rid of that. I kind of still need this bottom one. I can get rid of. I did say something about pose. I wanted to change something. I think it was the left arm. Let me just check at the. Actually, for now, I'm just not going to think too hard about it. I'm probably just going to try and fix the hand. Yeah. I think I did mention this before, but the office is kind of situated next to a main road, and I don't want to make any presumptions because presumptions is the mother of all mistakes, but I'm pretty sure let's say a dump truck just passed by, because that whiff just gonna smack me across the face now. So yeah. So chat, you can tell me what your favorite movie is, and if I know the movie, I can have a little bit of a short conversation about it. Well, there's a possibility I might not. The last time I watched the movie was it was a good while ago. Well, that's a bit of a lie. Me and my little sister did kind of build up this, I almost want to say, little bit of a Saturday tradition where we watch a horror movie at least once a week or two. Uh, at some point, we watched this movie called Saint Maud, and it's not. I don't. I think it came out. I think 2023 or 2024 maybe. I could be wrong. But it's basically about a caregiver, but she's completely loony. She has this whole thing about I don't want to say necessarily self-righteous, but religiously very self-conscious, and she's basically taking care of this old lady that you won't necessarily say is living the most righteous life, and this Saint Maud feels like it's her place to kind of convert this old lady into Christianity, and she kind of develops this obsession with the woman she's taking care of. Which leads to X, Y, and Z event. It's a really weird movie, and sometimes there's just like very uncomfortable scenes in it. And actually, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a horror. It's more of a psychological thriller. But again, it was a really weird movie. Should probably elongate this. Uh, yeah. Oh, something that I do like to do when I draw hands is usually just the finger that's at this side the most. For some reason I just like to extend it a bit. That's a me thing. I did notice a lot of people do it, but I also like to do it. And it's fun, kinda having the pinky pulling inwards. When we look at this is the finger is kind of bent like this, with this being this bit and this being the top bit. This going to be the knuckles, so taking that into account. Gonna have to start drawing the knuckles. I don't know if I talked about this earlier, but if you look at the knuckles, you're gonna get the square shape, and the ring finger being kind of a round shape, and the middle finger being a bit of a square. Sometimes it's a bit hard to integrate, and you kind of cut off those little details, but you still get them. So with this being the ring finger, you kind of get a sharp point, a round point, and the squarish point, though I'm probably certain you won't see that. And also with that said, it's not going to be much of a connection. I think what it, damn it, what it probably most likely will look like is something more akin to that. See, the thing is, I almost want to say I kind of studied anatomy looking at my own body, so this is more or less how my hand looks. Well, I think I should shorten the finger a bit. It's a bit long and a bit skew in my opinion. And a bit small. Let's just fix that. Oh no, that's... I don't know, I just have this... I don't necessarily want to say habit, but usually I tend to draw the hands too small or too big. And it's something I just can't seem to avoid. You just do get that bits and pieces in life where you can't avoid stuff. Come now, man. Also trying not to draw the finger too thick. Oh, yes, it looks like a... It looks just so... I almost want to say weird. I'm gonna try and fix this. Give me a second. Making it look a bit more like a hand. This finger, what should probably happen is, because the hand follows this, it should probably come out from here, and there. I should probably end up at that point. Yep, that looks much better. So we take into account small, a little bit higher. Think that's perfect. Now I'm happy with it. The only thing I'm not happy with is the left arm, because I don't like how it's so I almost want to say plain. The previous version I had, oh, excuse me. The previous version I had was this one, where the arm was kind of leaning over the other one. Now I have to think of a pose to fix this. This is a bit of a doozy. I can maybe do it like is putting his hand on his hip, but his hip isn't in the frame, so it's just going to look a bit weird. So if I copy the pose a bit, I almost think I should kind of repeat this pose, because this is fine. It's just kind of stale. Well, now I'm also in doubt about changing it, because just sitting like this also is pretty fine. But I'm just thinking of how I would pose when I I'm in that position. Uh, but I guess I can leave it like that for now. Maybe somewhere in the future I can fix it. Then I'm just filling in the lines. Yeah, this morning we also talked about wrinkles and creases and stuff, and it was a little bit of explaining, and then just one moment, the next moment, dude snapped. It's like, oh, dang, now I get it. It's like, okay, cool. Hopefully, you snap the other stuff just as quickly. That's going to save me a lot of time. But certain things are just easier to understand than others, especially, well, it depends from individual to individual. Someone in the chat just commented that all of everything is lies. What exactly are you saying is a lie? You just recently popped in, man. Flippin'. I should actually call the police on you. He's trying to take me down. Well, he does claim to have AKs on him, so I don't think that would be the smartest idea. Also, next week is going to be fun. My little sister is going to come intern for us. So maybe I can get her on the stream and present the little demon to all of you guys. I'm going. This is just. This is the best comment I've gotten so far, and I'm going to read it just because I find it so funny. So the dude said in the chat, like he just randomly dropped in, and he just decided to drop this comment, and I'm gonna read it to you guys. Because the first comment he said lies, all of them. He has no context of what has been said, but he claims all of what I've just said this entire stream is lies. So the next comment he left was this. It's the following. I have no context. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you're doing, and I don't know who I am, but I know you're lying. Bro doesn't even know who he is. So his claims are unfounded. There is no proof of the claims being lies. And we live in a society, well, we like to believe we live in a society where it's innocent until proven guilty, but for the most part, it's guilty until proven innocent. Just kind of a bit foot shooting, if you ask me, but what do I know? I just draw pictures for a living. And let people watch me draw pictures. That some people, I don't know if they belong in comment sections or not, because some of them are just, yes. And sometimes when the chat decides to get a little bit chatty, that some comments, some weird comments get dropped. I said I draw pictures for a living. The same guy comments that I draw pictures for society. No, if I actually did that, then my name would have been Ben Shapiro. Oh no, man. Let me just. I'm just going to pull this up so that people understand. I don't really want to do this. Okay. So when I'm just going to explain the joke to you, because just in case you guys don't get it, because I know a lot of people know Ben Shapiro, but I was talking about other dude called Ben Zapiro. So not with a SH, it's with a Z. And he does political illustrations of mainly South Africa, but also other countries. So that's just some context and clearing up some fog. He was also somewhat part of our Genesis childhood, where we had a collection of his illustrations. Why the hell are you being difficult? My God. Please, I beg of you, to all the viewers, like, go back, watch this piece of the stream on YouTube or on Twitch, and clip it and send it to Wacom or Xpen or Bouillon, anywhere, to help me get a functional drawing tablet, because this one works. It's just a bit old and it has its quirks, but the quirks piss me off. By the way, no chat, I will not do political illustrations. I do not want to lose my job, and I do not want to get banned or something. It would be fun to do that on the side and post it anonymously, but I don't think it's something I should do for yeah, not something to do for fun. Yeah, we're almost. Oh, shoot. I forgot we have an entire other arm to do with the outlines. And then we still have to color it. I'm most likely going to finish with this tomorrow, I guess. Just looking at this time-wise. Oh, okay. So the political illustration. So when I most of the comments I'm reading now, I'm replying to comments now. So when I come back to a previous topic, it's because I'm replying to a comment. So no, he said I should do political illustrations. Then I said I couldn't. I'm not willing to take the chance. Now this guy is telling me to put it on OnlyFans. Well, you have an answer for everything, don't you? And he's going to be a smart ass about it also. I'm already seeing him typing some sort of Einstein answer. This dude, man. He's. I hate the fact that there's so many words that I want to use, but none of them I can use because I don't know how kosher it is. Can't cuss, I can't this, I can't that, can't use certain terms, can't use or talk about anything that's politically incorrect. Damn it. And then, besides all the other problems I have with stuff I can't say on stream, now I have this dude in my comment section just leaving smart ass comments. By the way, if you hear me mumbling, that's because I'm trying to say a word that I'm not supposed to say. People, man, people. Okay, Rochelle, I'm not on the wrong layer. I'm on the correct layer, I promise. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm on the right layer. You make me doubt myself and my whole existence. What is the meaning of drawing? What is the meaning of everything? What's the meaning of working and yeah, what's the point of having a living? This is some piece of advice my uncle gave me, and I think it's very awesome. And it's somewhat of life advice slash dating advice. Um, where he basically said you're going to work for something like 82% of your life. So, um, if if you get a job that you don't like, then 82% of your life is going to be horrible. And make sure that if you get a wife, you get a good wife. Because if you have a horrible job and you get home, then you're going to have to spend that other 20% with your wife. And if you have a bad wife, then you're going to have a bad life. Because you're not safe at work and you're not safe at home. But I think a good wife would make a maybe a bad job worth it. Uh, And no, actually, I think I'm. Should I? Shouldn't I? Zane. Bastard.
Yo,
Come here quickly. Pull out your fist and show it to me. Okay, I just wanted to make sure if you're gonna have this dent.
Do I have the dent?
No, it's because you have like these two pieces of flesh, and when
Yeah.
it's kind of big, it kind of does this kind of
Oh,
thing at the
yeah.
bottom. So I just some people as it's just more, I want to say clearly than others. But actually, I think this kind of needs to be a bit more there. Yeah. So if we take away that, and so yeah, that looks pretty fine, I think.
Fine.
I ask, what's the meaning of life or the purpose of life? One says praising God. I'm fine with that. The next dude says, whatever keeps you from rage quitting and chicken nuggets. Which is a pretty good answer, but there's more to life than chicken nuggets. Like dino nuggets. You know, this is probably already a well-known fact, but chickens are the descendants of dinosaurs. So I wonder what dinosaur meat would have tasted like. It's a very curious subject to bring up. I wonder if it would. It tastes like chicken. I'm gonna write a thesis on this stuff. What would a jackalope taste like?
rabbit? I think more rabbit than deer.
Here's one for you. What would the chupacabra taste like?
It'd probably be really stringy meat, I'd imagine. Kind of chewy, not a lot of flavor.
Because you do know, Ned. So when you eat something, the flavor of the meat is really dependent on what the meat ate. So that's why farmers, they're very specific of what they feed the animals, because it kind of almost not change the taste, but it affects how the animal tastes or the meat tastes. And besides that, there's a thing that I know people like complain about this a lot, about most farms being violent and stuff. Here's the thing, you can't just kill a cow, or you can't just kill a cow. The reason why is, if you kill it and it notices it's being killed, then the meat kind of gets stuffed. So you have to kill it in such a way that it's quick and the animal doesn't realize. So if You just have to, like, it's one shot. It's one moment there, the next moment it's gone.
How else are you supposed to kill it? Slowly and painfully?
For example, if you kind of shoot it with a gun, and you miss the vital organ or something, it's going to be stressed and stuff. So
But you're not trying to do that anymore.
no, there's other measures, but also if you maybe try to just I'm trying not to be too explicit with these, but if you try to let's say use a knife on it and cut it at a certain place, you need to be very quick, because if it realizes it's in danger, then again the meat's going to it's going to tense up. Yeah, so as the chat suggested, it's lactic acid from stress and struggle that makes the meat tough. It's just a fancy terminology for what I just said. But also I think they have it's one of those, what would you call it? It's like there's a certain term for it, which is basically, it's not like a normal farm, it's farms that mass produce stuff. So I think it's usually them that have this. It kind of looks like a sort of a gun, where they just place it in front of the animal's forehead, and when they pull the trigger, it just kind of, it's not loud or anything. It's how do I explain? This
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, I want to explain how it works. So there's a little a pin. So imagine something like a let's just say a very thick, large needle that when you pull the trigger, it just like pokes through the skull and penetrates the brain. I'd say it's just like the thing would go limp. I should really expand on my vocabulary. And it's not that I don't have a small vocabulary, it's just at the moment I forget the words. It's like when you're texting an email or something, you can actually think of what you want to say, but mid conversation and mid sentence, you forgetting a word is a matter of life and death. Or if it was, I would have died a long time ago. So, yeah. Also, there's just a lot of weird claims about stuff that happens on farms. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't know, man. People are weird. This drawing I did is a bit weird. Yeah, oh, this is a mess up. Let's just pretend the album won't be in view because it actually won't. So I'm not going to do backflips and stuff. Which about worrying how it's going to look. I'm just going to make almost want to say a bit of an indent there. So now we can actually get to coloring this beast. It kind of looks like Zane now. Like earlier today when I started with this drawing, it didn't look like Zane at all. Michelle, guess what? Wrong layer. This is just going to become something. I can already sense it. The first stick that we're going to bring out is Zane and his lasagna. The second one is wrong layer. As the streams develop, we'll figure out what the other three would be. Just gonna take a sip of my water. I wish I actually had some tea with me. Some red bush tea. Which is also just a direct translation from rooibos. Which is all these fancy types of teas, they all just taste like it doesn't taste good to me. I generally hate the way tea tastes, but the one that actually tastes, so your normal English tea I can tolerate, but one that actually tastes like really good to me is rooibos. And besides that, rooibos has a lot of health benefits to it. But go Google it. It's spelled ROOIBOS. Okay. We're getting somewhere. But actually, yeah, I was almost worried for a moment. There's been a few times where when I started the stream, I forgot to turn on the background music. So for a moment there, I was like, wait a minute, did I turn on the music? And yes, thankfully I have. So one day, once the chat kind of expand a bit, we can have a bit more in-depth conversation. In-depth and in-depth and in-depth. Talking about depth, this kind of reminds me of this old not old, like back in the day I used to watch a YouTube channel called, I think it was CGI Shorts, where it was basically a bunch of or a collection of 3D short animations 3D animated shorts. But there was this one specific one that I really enjoyed called, I think it was DJI Deaf, where it was just a bunch of skits where you have Deaf and him just making a bunch of mistakes. He's like, each episode is him trying to get a dude, but he would always fail. And I remember there was this one time where it was a truck driver which you wanted to get, and he got as far as getting the dude into the elevator to the afterlife, but I don't remember what happened after that. Somehow he got forgive me, I'm not able to pronounce this word correctly, so I'm gonna butcher it. Resuscitated, and his soul got dragged back to life. I really need to learn how to pronounce certain words. Like even our intern is making fun of me now. Oh, by the way, Stefan. Guy has his headphones on. Now I kinda know how my mom felt. Hey, dinner's ready. Dinner's ready. Dinner's ready, you son of a... Okay, cool. Let's just get some of the colors. Get the base color for this. Okay. We're finally getting somewhere. You know, I think one of the reasons why Ruda's shirt's so big is usually because I wear large shirts. So it's some form of not not self-reflection. What's the correct term? Projection. It's some form of projection, because I know people, when they make art and stuff, they try to inject themselves into the art. And you know, something that I really like, I didn't think of this beforehand, but the creator of Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin and Hobbes was this little cartoon strip that you would get in the newspaper every now and then, way back when. But he said the main character, Calvin, is this really obnoxious little boy, and he hates his own main character. And for me, that kind of stuck in my head, and it's like, you should, when you write stories, you should be able to write characters that you yourself don't like. There's no form of projection or self-inserts, anything like that. It's just, it's its own character, and as long as the character is well written, it doesn't really matter. As you use the character as a way to convey the story. There shouldn't be any as far as self-insert go, I think it ends with the message of the story. You think of the message of the story, you think of the characters, you don't put yourself, or you don't turn yourself into one of the characters. The characters are just plot devices to move the story forward. I think that's big reason of why people tend to dislike modern shows and stuff. There's just too many self-inserts present there. Like I think with the was it, what if they do Star Wars movies or part of the series? I don't know. There was this one character that was a self-insert, and I think, sure, I can't remember names. I suck with names. But basically, the writer, they were told to insert their daddy issues into the script of the story, and that just caused the whole story to take a massive knock, and the quality of the entire show just went downhill. There is certain ways to write certain stuff, but you need to understand where you should put it in and how you should address it, because not every way is the correct way. It's just a way. Okay, let's get this shit done because it's getting tedious. Come now, man. I don't know, I'm sitting here just yawning. I don't know why I'm yawning. It's like almost 3, and I can't say I'm really tired. Let's talk about, damn. Let's talk about the frogs and how the water is turning the frogs gay and how that's possible. Well, a leading theory is hormonal pills that women take. Like, I don't know if it's the the pill that prevents pregnancy. Why did I forget the name of it? Or what other estrogen pills, whatever they might be, gets why is Twitch like this that I can't use the proper words? It ends up being flushed down the toilet, and it causes there to be a massive, let's say, estrogen amount in the water, and with that, when the frogs get the water in their system, it turns them gay, and modern day men, this generation of men, they tend to have a lower amount of testosterone that we had previous years, and they say that's also might be a cause of this theory. I don't know. It's just I have chest there, and that's good enough for me. Okay, we can get to sharing this thingy. Damn it. Probably make the brush a bit smaller. Don't understand why I'm getting this so wrong at the moment. It's on the correct layer, but I'm struggling a bit to I think that might be correct. That's correct. Correct. I did talk to our intern about this morning. If you practice digitally and you want to try do something in a straight line and not these types of scratches, then you just need to practice doing something. Let's say, for example, you did try to draw that, you take this, then you just repeat that until it doesn't have to be perfectly that, but you repeat it until you're happy with what you have. And honestly, going slower might also probably help, but if you do it fast, there's a lot less jitter, if I could put it like that, in it. So you try to do it as fast as you can, and eventually you'll get it more or less correct. It's just practice. Practice makes perfect, and there's no shortcuts to, let's say, perfection, for lack of a better term. I mean, this is basically how I started out a few months ago, and this is what I have now. You tell me which one looks better. And I know there's this smart ass in the comment section that's going to make a comment on that. But anyway, again, it's that time of the day. Unfortunately, I have to end our stream here. Unfortunately, tomorrow we're continuing with drawing with Daniel. I think at that time I will be done with this, since I still have 3 hours to work on this off stream. So I'll probably finish it by then. I'll see what we'll be working on tomorrow during the stream. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. I really appreciate it and your time. And with that, I will greet you, and I'll say good day and enjoy the rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are or when you're watching this. Thank you, my guys. See you.